Yo, what's up everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and in this one we're going to be talking about 5 keys for Nintendo for 2019 and beyond. So let's go ahead and get right into it. And we're starting off with the first thing here, and that is minimal or no delays on software already announced. So we're talking about games like Fire Emblem, we're talking about Animal Crossing, stuff like that they've already announced for 2019 or that have already been delayed. Like for example, in Fire Emblem's point, there doesn't need to be any more delays on that type of software or any more delays or unknown delays or whatever the case is. We already started off 2019 with a pretty huge delay, or not even really a delay, but just kind of like a restarting with Metroid Prime 4, a game that was announced in 2017. So I don't think that there needs to be anything more like that. Now, Furukawa recently said that they're not anticipating any type of delays with software. It seems like everything is going well, and I think it's very important that none of that key software, I mean, I'm not talking about stuff that we don't know about and it magically gets moved over and we don't hear about it until later, but I'm talking about announced software that we do know about. Big hitters, right? Fire Emblem, it's a major franchise for Nintendo. Animal Crossing, major franchise for Nintendo. There's also stuff like Luigi's Mansion. I think that needs to come out as well. So a lot of these different type of games that aren't necessarily like Mario and Zelda, these type of games that don't come out as often as some of the other ones that Nintendo has, those ones shouldn't have any type of delays, or there should be very minimal, because Nintendo does have a stacked lineup of games. We already know about a number of big titles like Daemon X Machina. We also have like the games that I just talked about as well. Plus there's more coming. So I just think that they need to make sure that none of the already announced titles are delayed at all, and I think everything will be good on that point, and they should be able to have a huge 2019 if everything plays out the way that I think it will play out, and there's no delays with the software, especially stuff like Animal Crossing or Pokemon 2019. Nintendo's easily going to eclipse 2018 and 2017 when it comes to unit sales. I think it's going to be a huge year for them. Heck, they might actually hit that 20 million goal that they wanted for the previous year that they ended up revising down to 17 million. So I'm excited about 2019, but I do feel that delays of already announced software definitely shouldn't be happening, so Nintendo can continue the momentum. All right, now moving on to the next thing here, guys, we're gonna be talking about an immediate impact new IP. And what I mean by immediate impact new IP, I'm talking about a game like Splatoon. Obviously, Splatoon, not at this point, is one of Nintendo's biggest franchises. It's a huge cornerstone of what they do, but back when it was 2015, when the game was first announced, well, 2014 was first announced, then it released in 2015, that was an immediate impact new IP in a popular genre where they took something, a shooter, right, and even a third-person shooter, online multiplayer, and they did it in a way that only Nintendo can think of. Everybody, when they make shooters, it's like, okay, well, we're just going to do the Call of Duty, we're just going to do the Battle Royale, we're just going to do something that's already out there. Nintendo took the concept of a third-person shooter and then completely turned it into a brand new twist with going into the ink and all of that. There's no other game on the market like Splatoon. It's one of the most unique games that you'll ever play, especially from the shooter realm. So if Nintendo can take another popular genre that's out there, whether it's racing or whether it's sports or just something else, and kind of twist it and turn it into something that they can do. Heck, they kind of did it before with ARMS as well, right? They took a fighting game and they said, what can we do with this to make it even crazier? And that's insane because they already have Smash Bros, right? But then they did it again with a game like ARMS. Now, ARMS didn't have as big of an impact as Splatoon, so I'm thinking that maybe if they can take something and have that impact like Splatoon had in a popular genre, I think that that would be a really big key for 2019, just because you already have a lot of other really cool games that are coming out, unique games that don't play like anything else, right? Luigi's Mansion is one of those games. We're looking at like a new RPG from Game Freak Town. That looks like a completely different type of RPG because you don't go out of that one town that you're in. You stay inside there, and that is a very foreign concept for an RPG. You're always adventuring and going all over the place. Everyone's talking about open world or open world-ish, open area games. And then town's like, nope, we're gonna take place just in this one town here. So I'm thinking if they can have something like that in another popular genre where it has that immediate impact, I think that would be really good for them going forward. And of course, helping out with Switch, just like Splatoon had an immediate impact on the Wii U and then really blew things out of the water when it released on the Switch. All right, I'm moving on to the next one here, improving the Nintendo Switch Online in features and services available. So this is something that I've been talking about pretty much since the Nintendo Switch Online was there, and even before it. Nintendo definitely needs to make sure that they bump up the services. Now, we've had Xbox Live and what that could be bringing to the service, but that's really just something that's going to be handled through games from what we do know of. Like a Minecraft, you can use Xbox Live services on there. That's not going to be something that's going to be built into the system. So I would love to see Nintendo in the future build in voice chat into the system natively, build in text chat natively, build in party chat if they can, and also game invites too for people who don't have their PC right then and there. It would be nice for those people, especially since the Switch, it's a portable device, right? You're going around. I mean, you can be able to kind of link it up with your phone, invite somebody to a game from there. I think that'd be pretty cool if they're able to add those services, and I think that's something that they kind of should have already had, and hopefully that they do add to the service in order to make a better value for it. Now, it's not expensive. Obviously, $20 a year, it's very cheap. It's like $1 and change every single month, but at the same time, that doesn't mean it shouldn't have some of those things in there. And I'm looking forward to Nintendo hopefully adding some of that stuff based off of what we've been hearing. We have the Vivox, we learned about that. That's the voice chat that's used for Fortnite. That's going to be available for people in SDKs, so they can use that in various different games. And I'm hoping Nintendo takes it a little step further, because not only is that voice chat, but that's also text chat in the games as well. So integrating it into the system from an OS level, if they can, would be really cool as well. And I also feel that Nintendo needs to make sure that they add in the Super Nintendo games, right? We've been talking about that. There's been rumors, and I'm fully on board with Nintendo, or at least I'm fully on board in thinking that Super Nintendo games are already unlocked. Nintendo already talked about Super Nintendo games before. They just haven't mentioned it recently, but we've gotten those data mines, and yes, Super Nintendo games are coming, but making sure that they pick the right Super Nintendo games would be great. Having some cool third-party games would be cool as well. I think a game like Chrono Trigger, for example, since the Wii Shop shut down, having Chrono Trigger on there for people to play, also having all the classics like Super Metroid and all that, that's all going to be very important because people love their classic games. So I think going forward, adding in Super Nintendo and potentially even more different types of systems, right? N64, people have talked about that. Even getting up to GameCube games, people would love to have that as well. So I think the service definitely needs to evolve and add in more types of games and add in different systems. And if they do that, that's going to be very good for the value, especially once we get Super Nintendo games. And if we get N64 or GameCube, the value, if they keep it at $20, which we've heard rumors that it's going to be going up, or at least there's going to be a separate option for people who want to pay more. But even at $20, if you add in Super Nintendo and you add in one more system there, that's extremely good value considering how much Nintendo charged for N64 games beforehand. And even with Super Nintendo games, I mean, they were charging like what, $7.99 for a Super Nintendo game, or $8.99, I'm not exactly sure. So like if you bought a couple Super Nintendo games or a few Super Nintendo games, you'd be paying for like the whole service beforehand for like years. So I think that Nintendo adding that in would be really good and would help out with the value of the system. Moving on to the next one here, continuing the amazing marketing. And the funny thing about Nintendo's marketing this time is that it's not even anything super creative or unique. It's just basic, tried and true, and just put in with a popular device so people are just eating it up, right? Recently, we've had the new ones, Play Your Way commercials, where we have people playing Final Fantasy and other guys playing like Super Mario Odyssey and the taxi and all that, and going back home. I think Nintendo's marketing is just basic. These are things that have been out there before. Other developers have done it, other studios have done it, other people that are in different type of areas when it comes to entertainment have done it with the marketing, but they're just executing it right, and it's just working for them because the system is so popular and it has so many cool games on it. And I think that since the Wii U's marketing was just so bad, it's like heightening this one right here. Normally, if the Wii U's marketing wasn't so bad, I don't think people would be like, oh my gosh, these are the greatest things ever with the commercials that they're releasing. It's just because the Wii U's marketing was so bad. They're like, you know what? Hey, these are really, really good. So I think that the close call commercials, I would love to see those come back. That was my favorite line of marketing from the Switch so far, is anytime like you're playing a game, you're outside, you're back inside, and like something happens like with the game, you know, they're busting through like with a sword or something. That's really cool. I like those live action type of commercials just because they're just nice, right? Not anything that we haven't seen before. We've seen that type of commercial with video games before, but I just think that they do it in such a good way, you know? So if they can bring back the close call commercials and just bring back the great marketing, which they've continued to do, I think that they're gonna be okay in that front. And of course, marketing is huge. You know, you need to make sure that you market your games right and that you market your system right. And they've been doing a good job on that front, whether it's the games or it's the system itself. they've been doing good. So just continue that, and I think Nintendo's going to be okay going forward. Last but definitely not least, and this is something that people have been talking about quite a bit, even from last year, now I'm going into this year, and that is new hardware or a revision of what they've already have. So let's talk about this just a little bit. Now, I'm not trying to say that they need to release some type of new super powerful box to compete with the next PlayStation and the next Xbox. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I'm saying is that new hardware in some way to draw more people in. Anytime you bring out new hardware, for the most part, it's going to get more people to, one, buy the system again if they already have it, or draw new people in, especially if there is a price drop. And I think that's the biggest thing here with some of these 3DS games or 3DS franchises that are coming over. And what I mean by that are games that were big on the 3DS that never came over to Nintendo's home console last generation. With the 3DS and the Wii U, stuff like Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, those games were huge, and so many people played those games with their siblings and had 2 3DSs, or they played with family and friends. I think that it would be cool and smart if Nintendo did release something that was a little bit cheaper so you can get more people in, especially with Pokemon 2019 coming out. You know you're gonna have the 2 different versions of the game. Somebody else is gonna wanna have their own Switch, whether it's brother and sister, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, whatever the case is. So if they can get a cheaper model out there, a little bit more durable, parents will be willing to spend another $200 or whatever it is, lower than the $300 price tag that's on the Switch, to buy their kids another system. And also for collectors and people who just like to buy the shiny new toy out on the market when it comes to video games, I think it'd be good for that as well. So Nintendo needs to do that. I would probably think sometime this year or next year or early next year, we're going to see some type of new hardware revision or something like that to capitalize on all the different software that has came out that's kind of fit for portable play, right? Animal Crossing and Pokemon, stuff like that. I would think that Nintendo would probably want to get a cheaper version of the system out. And once again, it can't hurt sales when you do that. It's only going to increase sales. Same thing with the 3DS, right? When they released the new Nintendo 3DS and all that, some people complained, whatever it was, but sales actually went up. When they released the 2DS, sales went up. When they released the new Nintendo 2DS, sales went up. Now, since they've had all those systems out, sales are kind of on the decline because more people are picking up Switch. But if they make a cheaper Switch, that's even going to get more people, more adoption rate over from the 3DS to the Nintendo Switch. So I think that would be a good idea for this year at some point or early next year. So what do you guys think about all the different keys here that I've listed for Nintendo Switch? And what are some of your reasonable keys that you guys are thinking Nintendo can do in 2019 and beyond? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the internet in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming pages. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace.